Hey team, Jordan here. So I'm here with Hunter Kittrell, and a couple days ago he sent me some really awesome news, and that he just hit his six-figure goal in his wedding photography business in the WLMA program. Congrats, Hunter! Super exciting. How does it feel, kind of getting to that milestone and everything?
It feels great. Last January at the WLMA meetup, Christora had a talk that she did about setting realistic goals for
Mm,
your year. And uh, in my mind, I think she even maybe had us close our eyes and think about the goal. And my goal was hitting 100K in
yes.
sales, in the value of my bookings and everything. And so that was kind of my goal for the year, which was actually almost double what I made last year.
That's
So
amazing.
I wanted to double my income basically from the year before. And so it feels really great to hit that mark. Not just because it was a goal I set at the very beginning of the year, but I don't know, just it just feels good
That's
to
amazing. Super
be in that
excited for you.
place.
And
Thank you.
getting a feel of this so people can get a feel of maybe how things were, and when you were first starting and where it is now. Like, what were you struggling with most, before you're in the WLMA, and what do you feel like has changed since joining the program?
Yeah, I think really the easy number one answer is the consistent quality leads.
Mm,
I think, I was relying on word of mouth, relying on just my social media post to bring in leads, and it wasn't something that I was in control of.
yeah,
And so I think that was something we talk about it in the program a lot, just kind of playing that guessing game, that wishing that someone would contact you. You sit
yeah.
around maybe days at a time just hoping that somebody messages you or emails you, but being in control of that was something
Mm,
that was a big issue for me. um, and and also I think having a clearly defined brand was another one.
good.
I think I was I had been living out of the country for several years and moving back to I live over in East Tennessee, and trying to figure out, okay, I'm not living in the Caribbean anymore. I'm living here in East Tennessee. Like I have to um, be able to connect with people here in the
Mm,
mountains. And so, being able to have that clearly defined brand that people know, hey, he's the go-to guy for this particular style, this particular adventure. I am an adventure wedding photographer. And people come to me because they know that, because they
yeah,
know what they're going to get, you know, out on the trail, hiking and things like that.
exactly.
Um,
And
but yeah, I
one,
think, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've got a whole list of things, but
Yeah.
sales too. Honestly, like I said, I was kind of starting from scratch, and
Mm,
so I more or less had basically everything that to running a business. I didn't really. I thought I knew. I
mm,
thought I knew sales. I thought, sales is not just having using charm while you chat.
yeah.
It's so much more than it's way deeper than that. And we talk about so much in the program about the psychology of everything. And so learning through all of those things um, just definitely took me to the next level
Yeah.
in that
So for
sense.
you, you feel like it really wasn't like just this one thing, but one, being able to generate attention on demand, two, being able to get people to really trust your brand, and three, like being able to take like these people through almost like this psychological customer journey where they can build even further trust, value your brand, all those types of things, correct?
Yeah,
Wanting to
absolutely.
dive into this a little bit now that you mentioned it. You mentioned brand, and developing that brand was a really big thing. What were some of those changes you felt, maybe visual and non-visual aspects of your brand, so you can really connect with your ideal clients? What were those things that you changed to get them to resonate?
Yeah, I think I grew up in the mountains. I have always been in some sort of adventure sports, whether it's hiking or skiing or rock climbing, whatever. And so being able to use my storytelling aspect of photography and
Mm.
bringing that over to the passions of doing these outdoor activities was really important to me. And so continuing with that branding of, obviously I've got, my logo back here, on my website. And I was talking with my wife about this, about branding just a couple nights ago. But when you go to my website, the homepage,
Mm.
it may say adventure or exciting or emotion, or there's these key words here.
Yes.
Adventure probably 10 times on that first page. I mean, so it's very clear that that's what you get. You get
Mm.
something that you're going to be able to tell a story afterwards, and really have as an exciting thing
Yeah.
when you come on a photo session with me.
Good, good. And I like that. So it's not only like when you jump on that website, obviously, the visuals, it's very cohesive, but you're making sure the wording is very cohesive with the visual aspects as well. So when they jump on the website, it really becomes a living, breathing brand. They know exactly what they're going to get in every aspect. Everything's consistent, correct?
Right.
Love that. Love that. So now this is a really important question I wanted to ask. So for people who really want to bridge this gap as well, but getting from 5 figures to 6 figures is a huge milestone, especially for you. Yeah, that was literally like doubling your business for you. What do you believe was the biggest variable in bridging that gap for you, and maybe even for others that you've seen, other peers that you've seen bridge that gap? What's been that biggest variable bridging there?
Yeah, I think uh, the first thing that comes to mind is just consistency. Um, I think that the sometimes we believe that we believe in this model. I believe, I say we as in those who have kind of reached this point in their business. There's a model that you guys have set forth in the WLMA program, and it really does work. I think being consistent in that, and having patience too,
Hmm.
because not always is it going to just take off right at the very beginning. You've got to put in the work, you've got to put in the grind, to get to that point. And to be honest, and this is probably going to resonate with some people that are in the group. Um, I've got 4 kids,
Hmm.
and 2 of them are teenagers, and so life is very busy. Between sporting activities and family activities, church activities, everything else, and so I don't always have as much time to put into creating valuable content for my uh, potential clients and things. And so I feel the pain there, that some other parents in the program might feel.
Love that.
But at the same time, because I hit that 6-figure mark, but it wasn't until December of this year.
Yeah.
I've been able to spend a little more time on it, earlier in the year, I might have done a little better, but obviously I'm still very happy with hitting that mark. But I think that mark of success, you have to kind of keep in check there, that success of, well, I've had a lot more freedom with my kids. I've had
Yeah.
a lot more time to spend with the family. And so even though I maybe could have gone farther than hitting just, that 100K mark, and just a little bit over, it was still allowed me the opportunity to spend more time with family, to
Hmm.
invest in our future, to invest in the business
Love that.
in different ways. And so, yeah, I think as far as some of those variables for getting to that point, I think just being consistent, keep working at it, keep working at it. Don't give up, don't get bogged down in just that grind. Especially, this is my first full year. 2021 has been my first full year of full-time wedding photography.
Yes.
Um, and so that was something that, starting out at the beginning of the year, I had just this big bright future ahead. I was super excited about, and there were times where it slowed down, and got a little more difficult. But sticking with it, sticking with everything. I think it definitely, uh, everything works.
Yeah.
This program works. And I think too, um, there's this point, especially early in the program, as you're kind of working through it, and there's these sales scripts, and there's these email scripts, and there's all these different things that feel a little daunting. And one thing that you say in the courses, as well as we say in the community, as we're chatting on Zoom or Discord or whatever, is you've got to take those scripts, make them your own, and make it become second nature.
Yes.
And so I think once you kind of get to that point of it being completely organic and natural, I think that takes it to the next level as well. Because
100%.
people know when you're trying to sell them, right? But when you're able to go to that point of meeting a complete stranger and them leaving that meeting feeling as though they were just chatting with a best friend, and then booking them for a really a $3,000+ wedding, the next day or whatever, or even that evening, that's when that you've done well. So
Exactly. There's 2 points that I think that's spot on. And there's 2 points I really wanted to emphasize on. And, that you mentioned consistency as well. Because very often, I mentioned this a lot, is we can have this shiny object syndrome where we always think we need more. We need more. We need more strategies. We need more tactics. But when you really get to the core of it, like less is more. And the philosophy I always had is like, find that one thing that's like the most efficient and master it, and just refine it and like hustle that until you've really got out all the kinks and you're really able to bring in more attention. So I love the fact that you brought that up. And another thing I wanted to mention a little bit was with the family and kids and everything as well. Because sometimes, you have people be like, I can't be this student, because I have a family. I can't get to this level like this student because I have kids, or I can't get to this level because I have another job. What were some ways that you're kind of moving things around to be able to balance those things out, so you did have time to work on the business and spend time with family, all that type of stuff?
yeah, well, I think I've gone through some points where I have compared myself to other people in the program,
Yeah.
and that's a dangerous place to be.
Yes.
Honestly, speaking with folks from Florida, for example, that more or less have a year-round wedding season,
Yeah.
and then those of us who have much slower seasons, here in East Tennessee, it really does. It's kind of ugly in January, February,
Exactly.
with no leaves on the trees, that kind of thing. It gets pretty darn cold. And so, there's some issues there, that sometimes it makes you get down on your business, on the program, even when you start comparing. But you've got to take advantage of those opportunities. And in my situation, my kids are actually in a year-round school.
Hmm.
And what that means is basically they don't have a real long summer break. They have a real short summer break, but they have breaks periodically through the year
Yeah.
that are a little bit longer. And so that actually is really awesome, because with me being so busy on the weekends,
Hmm.
as they have breaks through the year, I'm able to spend more time with them, during those breaks,
Yeah.
just throughout the year. Also, with this program now and being full-time photography, I don't have a commute anymore,
Yes.
in the mornings, going to the 9 to 5. And so I'm able to take my kids to school.
Yeah.
I'm able to be there in the evenings for them for sporting activities. And so, to be honest, it does require me to spend some late nights
Yeah.
at the computer, and sometimes I do get to bed at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And fortunately, my my brain still works at those hours. um, but it's just, putting them first has been really amazing, being able to do that. Um, and again, like I said, I could have pushed this to 150K this
Yeah.
year, probably, but being able to kind of slow down and say, hey, listen, maybe 25 weddings this year was kind of my sweet spot for
Yeah.
being able to do quality time with the family, as well as spending good time working. uh Maybe next year I'll try and take on a few more, and see if that's good. But finding that balance there, and not trying to take everything that comes my way,
100%.
um has been good in a lot of ways. Yeah.
That's key. And that's one, excuse me, that's one key point on success looks different for everyone. And it's not always a money thing. You know what I mean? Because sometimes just even finding that freedom where you can, do what you love, get that income goal that you want, but you can still prioritize family. That's a success. You know what I mean? And being able to
Yep.
put the family first and then rework ways to kind of run the business so you can still hit those levels, I think is really, really awesome. Now getting a feel of this. So this is a key topic where I feel students need to figure out the most, I'd say. So after, you get those leads through your ads and everything, building trust is key. So what are some key things you do to build trust with leads after, say, they follow your email series or your VIP group or maybe other social media platforms? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to um, the amount of time that I dedicate to this, dedicate to my work and dedicate to family. And I've found that this is one of the hardest juggling acts, is the how to nurture leads.
Hmm.
And so this is one of those things that I feel like I personally have failed on, and I'll be honest about that. Um, but the things that I do feel like I do really well with, and has seemed to work obviously with me, has been um, quick communication.
Good.
So when there is someone that emails me asking for information, and let me put this out there, I've I've had about 50% of my bookings for 2021 have been through Facebook and running ads, and the rest have been through organic leads. So finding through Google, through my website, maybe see me on Instagram, word of mouth, vendor referrals, all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That sort of makes up the other 50%. So I do have, when things do slow down a bit and I'm not getting as much organic leads, I can throw an ad on there and know, hey, $150, $200 on Facebook, and I'll book 3 weddings, 4 weddings,
Exactly.
whatever. And so I can always be filling up my funnel that way. But as far as nurturing warm leads that come in, quick communication. So
Huge.
when someone does email me, does message me, I get back with them immediately. And usually they're surprised at how quickly. I don't know how many times people are like, wow, you got back quick.
Yeah.
And so that's something I can do, is get back quickly with them.
Good.
And then obviously, like I said, just being charismatic, being excited for them, congratulating them on their engagement. Um, one of the last couples I booked, one of the things that really stood out that they mentioned in one of their texts to me was they appreciated that how excited I was for them.
Yeah.
And so with that being kind of the mindset of our first, they left their first communication with me, our first Zoom call, as saying, okay, well, he's excited for us. Like it makes us feel good that he's excited,
Yeah.
and so um, it, I think the other thing too would be just consistently posting amazing content on social media,
Good. Good.
because there's a lot of couples that when I talk to them on Zoom, one of the questions I do ask them, and this is kind of part of some of the sales script as well, is is, hey, what is it that speaks to you about my work? What is it that made you want to reach out to me? So that they're selling themselves, right, on the work.
Exactly.
But a lot of times they will come out and say, "Hey, those photos are exactly what we want because we see ourselves in those locations.
Mm,
We don't know how you got them to look so natural, but that's what we want." So they're and when I'm able to post those images to social media, it's really is speaking to the people that are looking at it.
yeah.
So I think just those are kind of the two big ways that any leads coming in, not necessarily nurturing warm leads, because I've not been able to keep up with that really, with the with all of life going
Yeah.
on. I've not been able to keep up with extra groups and things like that. Although I did start one,
Yeah.
the
No,
Facebook.
I don't,
It,
I
it
don't,
was
for me, I don't think that's a failed nurturing funnel at all. Cause really nurture, and the numbers prove it as well. But
right.
really just your nurturing funnel looks different. It may not look
Yep.
like maybe the students where they have like huge following on a VIP
Mhm.
group and they built kind of that brand there. But because of the way that your schedule has worked, you've been able to make it into a little bit more of a personal touch. So the quickness, the personal touch has been key. And especially once you get those couples into the consultation, it sounds like that's been a really key area as well. Getting a feel of that also, what are some key things, that you've seen to be really helpful when you get these couples like into the album viewings, the consultations, to get them really excited about working with you as well?
Yeah. I think just uh, the the expectation that I'm going to be leading them to some really epic locations and leading them and guiding them to places they've never been to before.
Hmm.
Being an adventure wedding photographer and being here in the Southern Appalachian Mountains, um, we have access to some of the most beautiful areas in the country, I
That's
think.
awesome.
And so heading, into the Smoky Mountains, heading into Western North Carolina along the Blue Ridge Parkway, like some of these areas are places that um, you know you see in your dreams, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And so I think people get really excited when I um, start talking with them about that, start planning that with them, and then I show them galleries of past clients, past photo shoots in those locations,
Mm.
and I think you see their eyes just lighting up with excitement on them being in those places with me.
That's awesome.
um Even though they've never been there before, they immediately start trusting me as I'm kind of walking them through the steps of what it looks like to go on these sessions with me and everything. And as you were saying with these consultations, the leads that have been coming in, I was looking back at my honey book here, and I've got 92% success rate on booking leads
Wow.
that I send proposals to.
That's
And so I feel pretty good about that.
it's a great
I
conversion
think
rate.
people are convinced. I guess I'm convincing enough, that people are excited to work with me, uh, when they do reach out. So although I may not have as many leads coming in as some folks or people that are running ads, consistently, I might run a Facebook ad like once every 2 months,
Yeah.
something like that. And again, I could do more, but it's hard to keep up with more
Yeah.
um, at this point in my life. But those who are genuinely interested are booking. So
Love that.
it's um, yeah.
And what I like about that is even not diving too deep into like what you do and stuff. I can tell that you've really found a way to make the script very authentic to you. And it's coming from a place where like after you do this consultation with the client, the prospects, they don't feel like they're being sold to, but they're excited to go through this process with you, which is the exact way it's supposed to work, which I love. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hunter, no matter what strategies we use as entrepreneurs, building a business is full of problem solving. What is one of the greatest lessons you've learned throughout your business journey this year?
Yeah, I think it goes back, and I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but just patience.
Hmm.
Just I think whether that's through y- you know, and I did let me step back a little bit. I did a full rebrand, basically, new website, new logo, new everything, kind of right at the beginning of the year. Um, and so that was it was kind of like a total fresh start for me, even though
Yeah.
I had been in the program since, I think it was like spring 2020
Yeah.
is when I joined the program. But it wasn't really until the very beginning of this year that I kind of did a full rebrand and like really kicked things off the right way. And so um, I think just having patience from putting in all the work there at the beginning of the year, and then I didn't necessarily see a whole lot of action until the summertime. And so
Yeah.
during that, the January meetup, when I put that goal in my head, 100K, and then with the whole new rebrand and everything, it was a little slow to take off.
Yeah.
And so I kept communicating with folks like Tom and Aiden and Haniel, and like, hey, like, shouldn't I be getting like all these leads coming in? And they're like, no, guy, Hunter, just chill, just pause, just hold on. It'll come. We promise you it'll come. And so I think just that patience, when you're doing it right, it doesn't always work right away, but if you're doing it right, it will start coming in time.
Hmm.
And the same goes for investing. I mentioned a little bit earlier that uh, one of the things that I've been really excited about this year is being able to actually put something, some investments forward to our future. My wife and I, living overseas for a long time, like right after we got married and got engaged, and honestly, we don't have a whole lot saved for the future.
Yeah.
And so being able to take some of the profits from this year and invest and save for the future,
Mhm.
that in itself is teaching me patience.
Yes.
But it's its own little business there in that sense. But yeah, that's definitely been um, one of the biggest things that I've had to kind of overcome is not getting too worked up about leads not coming in, like every week or every day. But like I said too, I can bring leads in on command if I want to. And
Exactly.
that's kind of the thing there is, I can sit back and leads come in on their own organically. 50% of my weddings booked have come in organically, but I've got that in my back pocket that I can
Exactly.
always use again to kind of recharge and refill that funnel. So I've always got new people that I'm communicating with and working with. Um, but yeah, that's
I
kind
love
of what
that. Patience and consistency, kind of working through the process, problem solving through the process. That reminds me of like this one quote that I heard recently. I think it was actually Ty Lopez, where he said we're about 75 chess moves away from the life that we want. And I love that he said
mm,
chess moves, because a lot of people, when they join even the program or when they learn like a new strategy, we see everything as linear, where we think it's just going to be this linear thing, but it's so far from how business works and how life works. But if you come in with this mindset that our business is like a chess game, even with the right strategies, it is a chess game. And we totally have a different view of how we problem solve things, how we feel like we have to work through things, the type of patience and thinking that we need. So I love that you mentioned that as one of the key things that you learned. So I guess for you, what's next for you? What are your next goals that you're looking for? What's next for Hunter?
yeah. Well, I think uh, as I was saying, during the winter months, things slowed down to not a complete halt, but they slowed down quite a bit here in the mountains. And so really, I really want to put a lot of good quality time on value content
Good
this
stuff.
winter. That's kind of next step in the business is get prepped for having a lot of good value content, whether that's scheduling out social media posts, um, get caught up on blogs for
Yeah.
this year, because blogging is so important in driving SEO and getting those Google searches, organic searches.
Yeah.
um, and then seeing what I can do about starting a little getting some YouTube videos out there,
Good
and
stuff.
get those floating out with value content, because honestly for me, writing is a lot harder than just talking.
Yeah.
And so
You have a great
writing those
personality
blogs,
for it as well.
yeah, it's so much easier for me to connect with somebody, and that's why I love doing the Zoom calls. That was kind of a game changer for me in
Mm,
this in business, was being able to use these Facebook ads to reach out to people that would have never heard of me before, and then win them through communication and chatting on Zoom and that sort of thing. But yeah, seeing what I can do about upping my value, um,
good.
it, through communication, through these different social media platforms and things. um, and yeah, see if I can't drive some more organic leads that way.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy, because it kind of seems like, you can generate these leads on demand. You felt like you got these consultations. Time was a thing for you, and now you're like, now that I got more time, I can fill in this nurturing funnel a little bit more in that area there. And I like how you understand your strengths as well. It's like, I know that I can talk better than I can write. So I'm gonna use, for me, it's the opposite. If I'm like talking with you like right now, I can talk, but I have to write. like,
Yeah.
I'm not good at like talking at a camera, but I know that. And so it's like I have to write out my value posts for more. And I like how you know
Yeah.
your strengths, the way you want to adapt for that as well. Awesome. Now, what's one piece of advice that you have for students in the WLMA to get to their desired goals?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that came to mind, or that comes to mind, as you mentioned, that is just taking advantage of the community.
Mm,
Um, having this community, the WLMA community, has been probably the number one reason why I've hit this mark. That I've
yes.
hit this goal this year. Obviously, there's so much important stuff that I learned through the program, through your courses, through your value emails and various things that you're sending. But I think just having that community to push me to stick with it, to finding mentors
Mm,
in the program, and I've got several mentors that have taken helped me go to the next level, not
yeah,
just on a business level, but on a personal level. I and I know it sounds funny, but just through these friendships that I've developed in this program, I feel like I'm a better father now.
that's
I feel
awesome.
like I'm a better friend, a better husband, because of some of these mentorships, and so this community has not only been a blessing for me financially, but just on a whole different level. And so that was something, back spring of 2020, the uncertainty of the pandemic. It's like, okay, I don't know if I can actually afford this program, but I'm going to do
Yeah.
it anyway, and that may hurt us. That may hurt us in a big way in the short term, because we were basically like praying for stimulus money
Yeah,
to come in, but we did the program anyway, and it was just a complete life changer.
that's
And
awesome.
so thank you. and
Absolutely.
thank everybody else that's a part of the program, part of the community. So take advantage of that. um, And you know, we're all in this together. We're all here to see each other succeed. And so even though I'm not always on all of the Zoom calls, I'm not or the Discord chat, so you know, I'm not always there. I'd be happy to communicate with you. You know, if you are looking for a little advice or anything like that, like that's, you know, just reach out to any of us that are in the program, whether we're official WLMA or not. You know, you know, we're definitely all here together and can help push each other forward. But I think too, it's just have fun.
Yeah.
I think that's
What's the point if we're
just
not
having
having fun, you
fun.
know?
That's right. That's right. You know, sometimes I see folks, and, and and I was in the same boat, you know, getting those first ads set up, getting, you know, Facebook has made things much more difficult these days
Yeah.
on setting up ads. Um, but and two, I think getting, you know, getting your website connected to the email chains, getting connected to MailChimp, whatever you're doing there, it is difficult and it is a
Mm.
lot. But you know, have fun with it and just reach out if you need help in the community, and yeah, just
That's
enjoy
some,
yourself,
that's some good
because
stuff.
the future is going to be bright if you stick with it.
100%, 100%. And I love that as well, because entrepreneurship in itself can be such like a lonely journey. You know what I mean? And it's like, utilize the people. We're all here together. Like not, don't just learn the strategies, but, you know, communicate like with the students that are here, mastermind with the students that are here, and find that accountability and support so you can make it fun and go get to where you want to be. And that sometimes we can get so caught up in like, you know, I understand that some people are start off in painful situations and they just want to get to like these certain goals, but you can
Yeah.
totally lose sight of like what you're passionate about if you're not having fun with like, you know, learning these new things, building these new things, and doing photography like with what you're passionate about. So those are some amazing tips that I know a lot of people are going to find a lot of value from. And Hunter, where can we find you as well?
Yeah, well, hunterkittrell.com is my website.
Perfect.
Feel free to go bomb that a little bit today. And then Hunter Kittrell Photo is how you find me on Instagram, Hunter
Awesome.
Kittrell Photo. And so those are probably the two places I'm most active, between blogs and then social media content with Instagram. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, this was such an awesome interview, Hunter. Thank you so much. Excited to see you in the retreat. If you guys haven't signed up for the retreat yet, make sure to sign up. You'll see us there as well.
Yeah,
And thank you so
get
much.
there.